Hey there and welcome to Finishing Larry. So I'm into the final highlighting and finishing off phase, and so this is going to be a pretty simple one really. It's not too much in the way of colour variation to this character. The main thing is that I'm going to introduce a dark grey to the silverware, and I'm going to run probably a blue, blue grey would probably be more appropriate for the silver, so I'll run a maybe even just a charcoal grey first around the edges of all of the blackware as such, and a lighter grey around the metalware, and eventually the metalware will be highlighted up to a blue grey, so it'll never hit white because I don't want it to look shiny, I want it to look matte. The other thing that needs doing is a lot definition done on knives. The knife in his leading hand will get the blue-grey outline, and then finally a white highlight. As for the stuff on his back, the bow will need to have a touch in, and the quiver will get brought into a sort of a brown range of browns as well. Probably not going to do much in terms of the flights, I might just run a highlight around the edges of them. But all of that to one side. First up then is applying charcoal grey, so I'll get that done, I'll be back in a second. Here you have it then, that's all the charcoal grey highlights running around all of the blacks. It's pretty subtle. I don't really want to go much lighter either, because I don't really want to I don't want to start making the cape and cloak and all the I don't want it to move away from black and start looking sort of like greyish. But on the boots in particular, I might just add a couple of extra little highlights just to distinguish leather from cloth. So next up I'm going to mix some of the charcoal grey with the blue grey, and I'm going to be applying that to the armour. So I'll get that done, I'll be back in a bit. There we have it then, this is the armour with the charcoal grey, blue grey mix laid up around the edges. I say armour, I mean metal, because one of his knives has metal as well. It's funny, it was in shot before. There you go. It's interesting as well, as I rotate Mini quite often, the focal range changes, which makes it quite difficult to keep him in focus. But as you can see, it just keeps the sort of matte quality, and unlike say Luther, if that video has already been out, you've seen it, it keeps his armour tonally knocked back so that it doesn't become sort of bright shining hero. He is the dark deadly assassin. So I'm just going to run final highlights on the armour, which will be just straight blue grey. I'll also apply blue grey to the edges of the knives, and also on the knives I'll just put in the hints of white along the edge just to have that keen edge sharpness ka-ching kind of look going on. And after that I'll be getting onto the bow and the quiver, so I'll do that and I'll be back in a moment. There we have it. The final highlights have been added, including the white onto the edges of the blades and tips of the blades. So that'll be all I'm doing to the armour for the moment. This is a pretty subtle one. I haven't run it all the way around all of the edges because I don't want it to suddenly look like it's kind of glinting and gleaming, but on the same note I don't want it to look completely flat. So I was just trying to strike a balance between the two things, so it's highlighted but it's not pushed into looking like it's mega shiny. Next up will be the bow and the quiver. The bow I think will go a darker brown. No, I think I might make the bow a lighter brown than the quiver actually, like, because that's just wood. Could have stained it I suppose, but I'm going to go with has not. The quiver will go a nice darker brown, and then I'll probably apply a bit of a, I don't know, light browny colour, and just put stripes along so that there's a lighter colour over the grip, and it makes it look or picks out the strands and identifies everything a bit more clearly. But yeah, I think it's coming together. The other thing is, as ever, this is an ongoing paint job kind of affair. It's not immaculate, it's not perfect, not by any means. And also, if my player suddenly goes, that's not what I look like this, and has any real issues with any part of the paint scheme, I'll change it. I will upgrade it, update it, and make their miniature evolve along with their character, because I think that's kind of important as well, or certainly to me, or for me. They should reflect one another. So I'm just going to get the bow and quiver done, applying the browns, and I'll also run a highlight round the edges of the feathers, probably just picking out corners of feathers, probably something like orange. So nothing too special, interesting with that, but just enough to pick everything out and make it kind of finished rather than half-assed. So I'll catch you in a second. Here we have it then. This is Larry, all done. His base is still a bit wet, sorry, but I'm rushing. I'm not rushing though. And I'm not going to do any more to him right now. In the future, as with all of these heroic types, stuff may be done, changed, adapted, just in accordance with requests they make, as well as any new equipment changes or what have you. But for the moment, I think I'm pretty happy. The bow and quiver, I think, have come up really nice. I'm never sure about this kind of diagonally brushstrokey, highlighty kind of thingy when I do it. When I see other people's versions of it, I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. But when I do it and I'm doing it at the time, I'm always like, oh god, that's disgusting. Why would I do that? And as ever, cool mini or not, you guys decide. Please comment below or what have you. And I hope this has been of some interest and use to you. Sorry, trying to get some lighting on in there. And that you're painting all the right minis to get the right things done for your stuff. Thank you for watching, have a good one, take care. Bye bye.